Shocking moment, girl speaks 9 languages, millionaire laughs until he's left speechless, the crowd buzzed with anticipation. An electric air filled the room, a mixture of disbelief and excitement as whispers floated like smoke. At the center of it all stood a girl no more than 16, her eyes glinting with a mysterious light. She stepped up to the mic, the audience breathless, waiting for magic to happen. No one expected what was about to unfold. Could it be true? A girl, just a girl, suddenly launching into full conversations in 9 different languages like a master pianist hitting each note perfectly? With each language she spoke, the atmosphere thickened, as if time itself was standing still. Her laughter rang out, sweet and melodious in English, then she switched effortlessly to German, the crowd gasping at her flawless accent. The sheer audacity of it all sent chills down spines, and the millionaire in the front row started laughing, but not just any laughter, the kind that turns into an awkward choke when reality sinks in. His pride dwindled, like deflating a balloon in slow motion. People leaned in, their bodies tense with fascination. They exchanged wide-eyed glances and whispered, "How can she do this?" The girl grinned, her confidence radiating like sunshine breaking through storm clouds. But what was the secret behind this talent? Was she a prodigy or something more? A few in the back shifted nervously, sensing a deeper mystery lurking beneath the surface. Who is she? A voice cut through the crowd, a hint of panic bubbling just below the surface. The atmosphere thickened like molasses. Something about her was off, but no one could put their finger on it. Just as she transitioned to Mandarin, the millionaire's laughter fell silent, his mouth agape, his previous bravado shattered like glass. His expression morphed from joy to disbelief, panic skimming the edges of his eyes. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As her voice crescendoed through yet another language, it felt like the room itself was holding its breath. The millionaire sat frozen as she concluded a rapid-fire exchange in French, her enigmatic smile both inviting and unknowable. A ripple of confusion washed through the gathering. They were captivated. Was she from some other world, endowed with a gift too grand to fathom? Or was it all an elaborate trick, a dark shadow looming over this dazzling display of brilliance? The crowd was lost in wonder, but underneath that enchantment was something like fear. Every heartbeat seemed to echo the same question: what was she hiding? As the lights flickered and a hush fell over the room, everyone leaned closer, drawn in by her otherworldly aura, waiting for the truth to break free from the tension, like a caged bird desperate for flight. Would someone dare to ask what lay beneath her magical facade? The room trembled on the edge of revelation, silence stretched thick, wrapping around the crowd like a pulsating heartbeat. Every eye zeroed in on the girl, her enchanting smile frozen in place, bearing secrets none dared to fathom. And then, with a swift flick of her wrist, she withdrew a small black object from her pocket, holding it aloft like a trophy. The muffled gasps rippled through the spectators. Had they all overlooked the key to her mystery? Was it some advanced translation device? Or a gimmick for the captivated audience? The millionaire's expression morphed, eyes widening with dread as recognition sparked in his mind. Wasn't he the only one feeling the undercurrent of anxiety? A wave of apprehension washed over the spectators. Wait, what is that? Someone murmured in the back, the voice barely rising above the silence. Without breaking her gaze, the girl pressed a button on the device, almost mechanically. The air shivered, as if magic was about to unravel. Voices spilled out, swirling in a cacophony of languages as the audience blinked in disbelief. Each echo bounced within the walls, and the atmosphere thickened with anxiety. The sweet thrill of fascination quickly turned bitter. Something wasn't right. Who is she? The words slipped from the millionaire's lips, strained and edged with a hint of desperation. This was no ordinary performance. The crowd sensed it too. An invisible binding force of dread held their hearts in a relentless grip. The girl's voice morphed into soft whispers, laced with an uncanny intonation that apprehended everyone's breath. Was she communicating with someone or something beyond the stage? Shadows danced behind her, lingering in the corners of the light, hinting at an unfathomable connection. Some in the crowd shifted uneasily, the lines on their faces stark against the dim light. What lay beneath that charming facade? Suddenly, the whispers morphed into guttural sounds, almost primal, vibrating in the core of every listener's being. An eerie chill raced down spines. The girl, seemingly impervious to this chilling wave, continued her performance, unearthing deeper secrets with each language, her eyes glistening with a wild, knowing fire. "What is happening?" a young man in the front row exclaimed, panic creeping into his voice. He squeezed his friend's arm tightly, drawing them both closer together, a desperate plea for safety. Deep within the crowd, disquiet spread like wildfire, igniting sparks of tension that danced in the frosty air, and then, just as quickly as it began, the sound fell silent. The sudden stillness swallowed every heart, every breath, leaving a void heavy with uncertainty. She stared straight into the millionaire's eyes, a fierce intensity radiating from her, compelling him to understand something unsaid. The moment hung taut, like an elastic band ready to snap. "What do you want?" he finally managed to choke out, his voice barely escaping his throat. Was he pleading or confronting? The air crackled with questions unasked, weighty truths lingering, begging for release. With a slight smirk, she leaned closer to the mic, ready to speak. But suddenly, the lights flickered again, plunging the room into darkness, plunging the crowd into chaos. Panic surged like a wild wave, people instinctively retreating, colliding into one another as confusion illuminated their faces with fear. What lay within that darkness? As shadows swallowed the girl whole, her laughter echoed menacingly in the pitch black, leaving only an unsettling question hanging in the air. Who are you really? The answer remained just out of reach, like a whisper in the wind, enticing everyone to explore the depths of danger and intrigue lurking in that shrouded smile. The darkness hung like a shroud, thick and suffocating. The audience milled about, panic-stricken whispers mixing with scuffling feet. The air was charged, electric with confusion and fear. In that oppressive blackness, hearts raced, and minds spiraled into wild speculation. What had just happened? Where had the girl gone? The millionaire stumbled back, his chest tight. His instinct urged him to flee, but he found himself frozen, compelled by something deeper: curiosity, perhaps, or an unsettling need to know what she had unleashed. A sudden flicker of light broke through the gloom, and the audience turned, squinting against the brightness. The stage lit up with a frantic pulse, revealing her once more, but something was off. Her hair hung loose around her shoulders, frizzed and wild, as though she'd just emerged from a violent storm. The black object still clutched in her hand shimmered ominously, casting reflections that danced mockingly over the walls. With a fervent thrust of her arm, she reactivated the device, and the cacophony of voices crashed back down on the audience like a tidal wave. This time, the sounds were different, louder, more chaotic, and oddly hostile. They barked out threatening tones and vicious demands, echoing through the room, filling every soul with a chill that settled deep in their bones. "Stop it!" a woman screamed, attempting to cover her ears. "Make it stop!" Her frantic cry conveyed the raw dread spreading like wildfire. Murmurs of apprehension arose, tension straining to a breaking point. But the girl only smiled wider. Her laughter rang like glass, shattering, beautiful and terrifying. "Do you think you could handle the truth?" she finally yelled, her voice piercing through the cacophony. The words dripped with challenge and delight. "Truth is rarely what you expect it to be." The millionaire's mind raced back to their last exchange. What had she meant? How many layers of truth hid behind that charming facade? Was she a trickster, weaving illusions, or something far more sinister? With another jab of her finger, the device spat out images that flickered to life on the back wall: faces, places, memories, mixed with abstract symbols. People gasped at the chaos of visual madness unfolding. Was this a warning? A prophecy? Or an insight into the true nature of things? Questions ricocheted in their minds. Step forward if you wish to know. She beckoned, her voice steady amidst the roar. Yet no one moved. They were glued to their spots, paralyzed by curiosity and fear intertwined. The shadows danced and flickered behind her, as if waiting for someone brave enough to take the plunge into the unknown. Then, in a swift motion, she pointed directly at the millionaire, locking eyes with him through the chaos. You, the man who hides behind money. Are you ready to uncover the truth, or will you cower in the dark? The room fell into a profound silence, the only sound the muted hum of the device. All eyes were on him now, waiting, breathless. His heart hammered in his chest. The pressure clawed at his throat, uncertainty gripping him in a vice, but beneath the confusion, clarity began to coalesce. He realized this moment was about more than him. It resonated, echoing through each onlooker. They were united, caught in this web of enchantment, uncertainty, and perhaps even danger. Finally, adrenaline surging through him, he stepped forward, breaking free from the roots of fear that had ensnared him. He was going to uncover the truth. Whatever that truth might be. Tell me, he began, voice trembling, but the intensity in his gaze remained firm. Just as the words left his mouth, the lights flickered again, plunging the audience into anticipatory darkness. And then, without warning, an ominous laugh filled the room, echoing like a sinister prophecy. Now that we're at the edge, let us see how far you're willing to go. What lay beyond this threshold? Was it revelation or ruin? Questions rippled through the crowd as they instinctively understood they were on a precipice, teetering between truths unimaginable and the darkness. Clawing at their souls. Would they leap or retreat? Would he dare to find out? The room buzzed with a palpable tension, breaths caught in throats, eyes wide and unblinking as the shadows closed around them. The laugh echoed into the corners where light dared not tread, a sound laced with menace and anticipation. The millionaire felt it deep in his chest, a mix of dread and fascination. Had he truly crossed the point of no return? With a crackle, the lights flared back to life, banishing the shadows that had embraced them just moments before. The girl stood before him, alive with an electric energy. Her eyes sparkled like twin stars in a barren sky, the device clenched firmly in her grip. It pulsed in sync with the frantic beating of his heart, each thump suggesting secrets even darker than he could imagine. Welcome to the reveal, she declared, her voice a siren call rising above the still palpable panic, where everything you thought you knew dissolves into air. She aimed the shimmering black object toward the audience, and it whirred to life, its surface reflecting a multitude of colors that rippled like water. What came next was a whirl of images, a montage of frantic faces, flickering lights, and memory fragments that made the crowd murmur in unease. The girl gestured theatrically, her energy infectious but unsettling, coaxing each onlooker to lean closer, as if drawn by an unseen magnet. Isn't it beautiful? She purred, a sharp smile spreading on her lips as she absorbed their reactions. This tapestry of truths, lies, and forgotten dreams, your dreams. The millionaire's breath caught once more, words dying before he could summon them. How much had he hidden from himself? What dreams had he chased, only to lose sight of the reality woven beneath? It felt as if the device had pierced through the layers of his heart, exposing everything he kept concealed. Did you know? She continued, plucking a face from the chaos that loomed. This is the face of a friend who betrayed you for a slice of your empire. A gasp rippled through the audience, shock twisting the air. Or perhaps just a chance to thrive in your wake. Hands tightened into fists around him, disbelief painted on faces. Rumors of treachery and glances of suspicion flickered like a shadowy undercurrent. Watch closely. Each face an echo, a reminder. She activated the device again, images sparking to life, voices from yesteryear rising like a siren song. They heard the whisper's secrets, confessions echoing in all 9 languages she seemed to command with uncanny ease. Weaving through the threads of time, we find ourselves at a crossroads, she yelled, her voice rising above the tumult, a moment where truth and betrayal dance together. And then, without warning, the lights dimmed once more, plunging them into sudden quiet. Only the hum of the device remained, vibrating through the silence as if to underscore the weight of the moment. The millionaire's stomach twisted as he felt the walls of reality begin to shift. Would they dare to face their truths? Or retreat into comforting lies? The crowd around him stirred uneasily, glancing at one another with a mix of fear and determination. Who among you is bold enough to step into the light? She challenged, intensely fierce. Who will unlock the doors to their own shadows? With a shaky breath, the millionaire felt the pull again. Unraveling threads of his carefully crafted life pulled him backward, tempting him to retreat, whispering sweet nothings of safety. But ahead lay knowledge, and possibly clarity. He couldn't let the darkness have the final word. Feeling every heartbeat, he opened his mouth to speak just as a flicker of light caught his eye. The journey was just beginning. Behind that device, shadows flickered, and within them lay answers to questions no one dared ask not yet. Are you ready? She teased softly, her voice like silk, coaxing. And as an uneasy silence fell, something stirred behind the curtain of light. What awaited them? Healing, or horror? The air crackled, thick with uncertainty, as the girl's challenge hung in the silence. The device kept humming, a low drone that filled the void like an impending storm. Eyes darted around the room, each person searching for a fragment of courage or a glimpse of hope. The millionaire's heart pounded hard against his ribs. They were lured into a dangerous game, one where secrets could bleed out into the light. As he inhaled, the metallic taste of fear filled his mouth. The flicker of light rekindled a sense of urgency. What truths would rise to the surface, and who among them was ready to confront their own darkness? Step forth. She beckoned, her arms wide open, encouraging a dance with fate. The laughter that had once vibrated through the room faded to an uneasy murmur, every spectator entranced by the glittering device like moths drawn to flames. Suddenly, a figure from the back of the crowd hesitated, then stepped forward. It was a woman, her face a mask of conflict. The whispers spiraled through the audience. Could it be that she bore the weight of betrayal? As she moved forward, the millionaire recognized her as a trusted associate. Could it really be her? Each step she took made him feel as if the ground was collapsing beneath his feet. With a deep breath, the girl activated the device again, casting eerie hues across the room. Images erupted into being, projecting tangled memories of tension and smiles that had long since faded from their hearts. There she was, laughing, so vibrant. But then everything shifted. The laughter vanished and was replaced by echoes of harsh words, a ring of betrayal. Why did you choose to hide? The girl demanded, her eyes fierce, challenging the woman to reveal the truth behind her self-constructed facade. The tension cut through the air as all eyes focused on her. The audience held its breath, every heartbeat synchronized to the pulse of the device. The woman hesitated, tears pooling in her eyes, as if she were standing on the edge of a grand chasm. The whispers evolved into gasps, thick with revelation, and the room expanded, pulling everyone deeper into the moment. She stuttered, her voice a shaky whisper. I thought I could shield you. Protect you from the truth. The millionaire felt his stomach churn, wrestling between disbelief and the haunting recognition that her words could be the unveiling of a much larger deception. What truth? He urged, his voice choked with tension, every syllable dripping with desperation. Suddenly, the device crackled, throwing the audience into a whirlpool of fragmented images, a sprinting figure, shadows coiling around darkened corners, secret meetings under flickering streetlights. It was as if hidden video cameras captured the very betrayal that festered beneath their bond. The audience gasped again as whispers of panic erupted. In that moment, the girl surged forward. Stop. Look closely. She commanded. These are the elements of your past, your regrets. The shadows of betrayal dance around you. Will you remain silent, or fight back? The millionaire watched the woman's face contort with emotion, the weight of the truth crashing down like a tidal wave. It became unbearable, and it was clear she was trapped in a torment of guilt. He touched her shoulder lightly, trying to anchor her in a moment that felt as though it might break them all apart, yet before she could answer, the room plunged into darkness again, and a chilling silence swallowed them. The once familiar glow of the device dissipated, replaced by a palpable tension that throbbed in the dark. The only sounds were the hurried breaths of those frayed nerves, waiting expectant, what awaited them in this abyss? A reckoning, or deeper tragedy? What will you choose? The girl's voice echoed in the dark, draped with mystery. As the shadows loomed closer, the millionaire squeezed his eyes shut, all hope silhouetted amidst the unknown. Are they ready to face what lingered behind the curtain of light? The next moment could unfold a revelation or disaster waiting to happen. The silence broke with a sharp crackle, startling everyone into alertness. The shadows shifted around the room, morphing into unsettling shapes that danced on their anxiety. The glow of the device flickered back to life, but this time it pulsed erratically, like a heartbeat struggling to maintain its rhythm. Gasps and murmurs filled the air, a chorus of growing fear. What will you choose? The girl's voice rang out again, layered with urgency. It sliced through the tension, demanding a response, but all eyes remained glued to the screen, swept up in a cyclone of confusion and dread. The millionaire's gaze flicked between the woman and the device. She trembled, her prayers hanging on the precipice of truth and lies. Desperation clawed at him, time was slipping, and they were losing clarity in the chaos. The girl leaned closer to the device, as if she could pull the truth right out of the screen. I'll show you, she said, and pressed a series of buttons. Instantly, the images shifted again. Snapshots of their past lives flickered rapidly, the millionaire at lavish parties, champagne glasses clinking, laughter echoing against polished marble. But then, the atmosphere thickened as the images darkened, morphing into a loop of hushed conversations and fearful glances. You think this is just entertainment? She spat, her voice rising above the hum. This is how it feels to live a lie, to pretend everything is fine. The millionaire's heart raced. His own secrets loomed in the recesses of his mind, threatening to unravel him. It felt as if the walls were closing in, every breath heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. Suddenly, an image of the woman flashed on the screen, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. She was standing in a dimly lit alley, speaking urgently to a cloaked figure. The eyes of the audience widened with every detail that unfolded. Whispers erupted, a cacophony of shock, betrayal surfacing like debris from a sunken ship. What was that? Someone gasped from the corner of the room, their voice trembling with disbelief. The air was electrified as mutterings of treachery cascaded through the crowd. The millionaire felt the sting of betrayal like a nettle pricking his skin. How could she be so close yet so distant? Her silence had been a chasm, and now they were both teetering on the edge, holding back the flood. I never meant to betray you, she cried, her voice raw. It was enough. The girl interrupted, determination cutting through her words. You're both standing at a crossroads. Own your choices. Or lose everything. Then, silence reigned, piercing and cold. The device surged with energy, casting a spotlight on their intertwined fates. The flickering images began to slow, framing the woman in sharp focus, fearful, weak, but somehow fierce. The million-dollar question hung thick in the air, above breathless pulses of uncertainty. What choices would define them? What was the truth they had both avoided? Together, or alone? The girl's voice now carried a mixture of challenge and pleading. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the device shorted out with a violent spark. A blinding light enveloped the room, and screams punctured the veil of darkness. The lights flickered, then extinguished entirely, leaving them in suffocating blackness once more. Confusion swirled like a palpable fog, and before anyone could process what was happening, the room trembled as a door slammed open somewhere within the shadows. A voice echoed from the dark, chilling them to the bone. You seek the truth? Very well, let us see what lies behind the curtain. What awaited them next could shatter everything they thought they knew or bind them tighter to their secrets. Each heart raced, caught in the clutches of dread, as the invitation to face their demons loomed ever closer, an unseen force straining to pull them into the abyss. Would they be ready to confront the reality waiting beneath the surface? The darkness swallowed them whole. Silence lay heavy, clinging to their skin, while the faint echoes of their collective breathing stirred a budding anxiety. Each heartbeat drummed loudly in their ears, a relentless metronome of tension. Who are you? The millionaire finally dared to ask, his voice shaky yet demanding. It cut through the dim silence, taking form in the oppressive air, but it hardly seemed to matter. The shadows danced, flickering with palpable energy, as a figure stepped forward from the collapse of light and darkness. A silhouette emerged, cloaked and ethereal, seemingly blending into the fabric of night itself. The chill of the room intensified, even the bravest of souls felt the hairs on their arms stand at attention. I am the keeper of truths, the voice resonated, smooth and commanding, echoing off the cold walls. And you have entered a realm between what is known and what is to be discovered. Get to the point. Someone barked, their patience unraveling before the looming uncertainty. Very well, the figure replied, a hint of amusement woven into the words, like a cat toying with a frail mouse. You want to unravel the threads of your secrets? Then let us begin. The cloaked figure raised a hand, and a single thread of light pierced through the darkness, illuminating the ground at their feet. It pulsed, flickering like a candle flame caught in a draught. The investors leaned forward, straining to see. As the light grew bolder, it entwined itself around the millionaire's legs, binding his feet momentarily. He looked down, panic mingling with intrigue. What is happening? Each thread binds you to your choices, the figure intoned. Each decision a part of your tapestry. Untangle them and confront what you truly are. Before he could respond, the light surged, releasing a flood of images, vivid snapshots that sprang to life as if pulled from the depths of memory. It revealed the millionaire's life in grotesque clarity. His arrogance caught in a single gluttonous feast, laughter turning into malicious glee as others stumbled under the weight of his success. No, he whispered, horrified as the images unintentionally peeled back layers of his soul. Oh, but it gets better, the figure grinned, an unsettling smile stretching from ear to ear. Let us see what lies beneath. With a flick of a wrist, the pulse of light shifted, now swirling around the woman. Her secrets erupted in a frantic whirl, a scene with police sirens blaring and her tear-streaked face losing itself amid a crowd. She was framed, fear transforming her features into something unrecognizable. Stop it! She yelled, covering her eyes. Face it, the figure commanded. Only through revelation can liberation blossom. Your truths bind you, they are chains unless you choose to own them. The room buzzed with tension, urging everyone to confront their darkest selves. Murmurs filled the air, frantic and chaotic, each person wondering how exposed their own demons were. The millionaire felt as if he stood in front of a mirror warped by secrets, revealing not just who he was but everything he tried to hide. We can't. Someone shouted, their panic twisting into aggression. We'll lose everything. Lose? Or gain? The figure's voice whispered now, silky smooth yet razor-sharp. What will you choose when faced with the truth? In a sudden movement, the lights flickered again, casting eerie waves across each frozen face. Shadows lengthened, pulling everyone deeper into the fray of their choices. Do you dare to unveil the revelations? Before they could respond, the ground trembled anew. Tiles cracked beneath them, and a voice boomed from the depths of the earth, vibrating through their spines. Prepare yourselves. The hour of reckoning is at hand. And with that, the ground beneath them roared, tearing itself apart as chaotic images filled their minds, a mosaic of choices untamed and unyielding. Each heartbeat resonated with one question: could they withstand the truth, or would they be devoured by their own secrets? Fear clawed at their throats, a tangible presence, as they braced for what would come next. The chaos erupted like a volcano. The floor trembled violently, sending everyone stumbling. The solid ground seemed like quicksand, ready to swallow them whole. The millionaire's heart raced, a drum of dread echoing in his ears. He searched for a way out, but the shadows had closed in, thick as fog, suffocating any hope of escape. "What do you want from us?" he shouted, his voice cracking with desperation. The cloaked figure remained eerily calm, a smirk curling at the corners of their lips, as if they reveled in the turmoil. "Patience," they replied, their voice a siren call weaving through the noise. "You are on the cusp of an awakening. But first, you must face your essence." As if summoned by their words, the ground split wide, revealing a chasm that glowed with an unsettling light. Gasps echoed, voices raised in panic. Dark figures writhed in the glow, shadows of their past surfacing like ghosts to haunt them. Each flicker of the light seemed to pulse in time with their fear, mocking them. "Who's next?" The figure teased, stepping closer, their gaze piercing each individual as if peeling the layers off their souls. The tension was thick enough to slice, everyone standing paralyzed in their own dread. Suddenly, a newcomer, a young woman with strikingly fierce eyes, stepped forward. "I'll go," she declared, her voice steady but tinged with fear. The others murmured in protest, eyes wide and bewildered. "Are you sure you wish to tread this path?" the cloaked figure questioned, tilting their head, intrigued. The gleam in their eyes was predatory, hungry for the revelation to come. "Yes," she affirmed, shoulders squared, determination flaring bright. The light enveloped her, a cocoon of both warmth and cold, as scenes erupted around her. They flashed like quicksilver, her sitting at a bench in Paris, laughing as she exchanged witty banter in French, her fingers deftly dancing over a keyboard, typing in fluent Mandarin, her voice rising above a cacophony as she spoke to strangers in Spanish and German alike. The millionaire felt a twinge of envy as he watched her brilliance unfold, but then it twisted into something darker. "What's so special about that?" he scoffed, shaking his head as if to shake off the envy like a pesky fly, but the figure's smile only widened. "Ah, but wait, millionaire, you haven't seen the whole tapestry yet." With a sharp flick, the images warped and twisted, revealing not just her victories but her vulnerabilities, her nights spent in solitude, clutching a phone that didn't ring, her desperate attempts to connect, only to leave a trail of broken friendships behind. Her laughter, once a melody, now echoed with loneliness. "Stop!" she cried, tears brimming, her resolve blurring. "That's not me, that's not all of it." "Every truth will be revealed," the figure said, their tone devoid of sympathy. "The light shines on all. Embrace it, or it will consume you." A collective shudder coursed through the room. The ground moaned, the chasm yawning wider, swallowing fragments of their sanity. The millionaire felt the edges of his own past slip into that void, visions of heartless deals and betrayal rising up to mock him. "It will devour me," he whispered to himself, horror spreading like a vine in his stomach. "I can't do this." The young woman fell to her knees, hitting the ground with a thud that resonated through the trembling earth. Whispers floated through the air, a chorus of fears and feelings crashing over them, each wave dragging them deeper into doubt. "Then you shall remain lost," the figure proclaimed, raising their hands, the light surging around them, intensifying, but something shifted, a moment of clarity amidst the chaos. The woman looked straight at the cloaked figure. "What if we choose to rise instead? What if we reclaim our strength?" A ripple of hesitation spread through the crowd, igniting a spark of unity. Together someone chimed in, voice cracking but resolute. Together another echoed. "Ready yourself," the cloaked figure bellowed. The light flickered in response, as if testing their resolve. The shadows wavered, for a split second, hope glimmered. As the ground trembled again, a crack of thunder echoed, and a new voice rang through the chaos, an unexpected authority slicing through the tension. You can't escape the truth. I can help you, but you must trust me. Who was that voice? And what could it mean for their chance at redemption? The shadows recoiled, and with them, the uncertainty surged anew. The cloaked figure took a step back, surprise flickering in their shadowed eyes. The new voice cracked like a whip against the chaos, sharp and commanding. The crowd shifted, a tidal wave of anticipation rolling through them. Who are you? The young woman gasped, her eyes wide as she turned to locate the source. Emerging from the shadows was a man, his sharp profile contrasting against the indistinct darkness around them. He wore a neatly tailored suit, its crisp lines just as defiant as his stance. The tension in the air vibrated as he stepped forward, radiating confidence that was almost palpable. "Call me Adrian," he said, his voice smooth and collected, cutting through the panic. "I'm here for all of you, but trust one T come easy in a place like this." The millionaire's heart thrummed wildly. "And you can help us?" he asked, skepticism tinged with a flicker of hope. "You can defeat, whatever this is?" "Not defeat," Adrian corrected, shaking his head. "Embrace, understand. You stand on the brink of revelations that could either free you or entrap you further." The cloaked figure sneered, their voice dripping with mockery. "And what makes you think you can guide them? You're just another lost soul here, aren't you?" Adrian matched the figure's glare, unfazed. "No, I'm not lost. I'm here to lead them back. It's time to channel the truth and not let it consume you." The night felt alive with energy, anticipation rippling through the air. The light from the chasm pulsed like a heartbeat, flickering between hope and despair. The shadows that had once looked menacing now clung to the edges of awareness, revealing glimpses of what the figures surrounding Adrian had held back for too long. Each person wore a mask, but cracks were forming. A hunger for truth shone through. The young woman stood tentatively, her fear battling with determination. "What do we have to do?" Her voice was quiet yet firm, rallying those around her. "Share your truth," Adrian replied, his gaze shifting to the millionaire. "Only then will these shadows weaken. Remember, facing your essence isn't a curse, it's a strength." The millionaire swallowed hard but did not respond. The memories flooded his mind, his successes, his failures, the weight of lost connections. He felt that all too familiar vine of fear tightening around his chest. Fueled by the momentum of their collective fear, someone shouted, "Let us do it." The room vibrated with energy, voices rising in a chorus of resolve that fused their insecurities into a single unyielding desire, to reclaim their tales. With every heartbeat, the chasm-esque glow expanded, illuminating faces twisted in determination, grief, and acceptance. The cloaked figure seemed to shift, their confident demeanor faltering. "No!" they barked, panic creeping into their tone. "This cannot be. You were meant to wither." The shadows recoiled, frightful and unpredictable, as if sensing their fading power. Adrian stepped closer to the edge of the chasm, extending his hand towards the young woman. "Don't let them pull you back, embrace your past, and share it. We're stronger together." With a deep breath, she took his hand, feeling newfound strength surge within her. "I am more than my failures," she cried. "I will rise." The crowd erupted in a unified shout, their voice merging into a single sound, a powerful proclamation against despair. "I will rise. We will rise." The ground trembled beneath them, the chasm roared with unfathomable fury while the cloaked figure's face twisted in outrage. "This is madness!" they shrieked, but the light pulsed with each affirmation, blinding and bright, pushing back the encroaching shadows. Just as they felt invincible, a thunderous roar erupted from the depths, shaking their very core. The cloaked figure clenched their fists, dark energy swirling violently around them, as they bellowed, "You have unleashed a darkness you cannot contain." Could they endure the consequences of their reclamation? Would their declarations of strength be enough to bind the darkness or ignite the storm? As figures began to emerge from the depths of the Chasm, the true test of their unity loomed ahead. What horrors awaited them in the darkness, and could they truly rise above it together? The chaos erupted, and they held their breath as shadows clawed their way toward them, writhing with a hunger that heralded despair. The looming darkness felt like a storm threatening to swallow the very light they were manifesting. But amidst that turmoil, a fierce determination sparked within the crowd, a growing pulse of hope that broke through the fear. Together! Adrian shouted, the word ringing like a battle cry. We have to claim our power. The shadows twitched nervously, recoiling from the energy radiating from the group, but it wasn't enough. The cloaked figure, clad in darkness, beckoned. You think you can withstand what's coming? You're just children playing with fire. But the crowd only tightened their grip on each other, a human chain of solidarity, each heartbeat synchronized, drowning out doubt. The millionaire stepped forward, fear battling with resolve within him. No more hiding. I refuse to let my past dictate my future. We are stronger together. His voice sliced through the air, igniting something primal. The shadows seemed to wriggle in response, uncertain, uneasy. The young woman beside him, emboldened by his words, stood tall. I refuse to be a prisoner of my own insecurities, she declared, her voice commanding and clear. I will face my truths. Behind them, a chorus of voices erupted, each person revealing their pain and their dreams. In fragmented declarations, shared truths poured forth like a dam bursting, flooding the once stagnant air with emotion. I was scared. One shouted. I thought I had to be perfect. Another confessed, tears spilling freely. With each revelation, vibrant bursts flickered through the chasm, illuminating faces that shone with purpose. The cloaked figure sneered, dismissing their strength with a wave of the hand, but the shadows were wavering now. What had once seemed like an unstoppable tide now flickered, the sharp edge of uncertainty creeping into the darkness. Stop this! They demanded, voice strained. No! We are reclaiming our light! Shouted the man who had first stepped forward, his spirit igniting something in everyone around him. The shadows froze as if they hesitated, sensing the shift in power. The room vibrated, the energy pulsing like the beat of drums. It felt electric. They weren't just pushing back the darkness, they were shining through it. The young woman felt the warmth of unity envelop her like a hug, a strength born of shared vulnerability coursing through the air, binding them tightly. Adrian's eyes gleamed as he called out, each truth you finally own weakens the hold they have over you. Every secret that is shared is another chain shattered. The room surged with vigor. Together, they spoke their truth, fierce like a wildfire catching in a dry field. Their realities converged in ecstatic confessions that forged a glowing light, a beacon of hope against the consuming darkness. Finally, as if pushed to its edge, the cloaked figure screamed in horror, you cannot escape your past. The darkness will come for you. But before they could recoil, the audience surged forward like a tidal wave. They held hands, forming a circle of defiance against the threatening shadows. We will rise, and we will shine. They roared together, voices melding into a powerful declaration. The cacophony of light seemed to drown out the figure's words, blinding them, forcing shadows to retreat further and further into the chasm. Waves of brilliance swallowed the room. The weight of truths poured out like gemstones strung together. Together. They cried once more, and the cloaked figure collapsed, shadows dissolving into thin air. At that moment, clarity washed over the audience. The chaos still crackled in the air, but they could breathe again. The ground beneath them felt firmer, more sure. Their hearts steadied, no longer racing with fear but thumping with awe and victory. As the light dimmed, the creature that had thrived on chaos receded, leaving the room echoing with hope and liberation. A sense of calm hovered, wrapping around the crowd like a soft blanket. Adrian, standing amidst this emotional whirlwind, turned to the millionaire and the young woman, this journey doesn't end here. You wrestled with shadows, but you emerged triumphant. Remember this moment, hold on to it in the days to come. The millionaire, breathing deeply, nodded, understanding this was just the beginning. The darkness may have lurked at the edges, but they had faced it and emerged together. As sunlight broke through the cracks around them, illuminating the room anew, they knew they could walk forward unafraid. Now empowered by truth and unity, they took each other's hands, stepping beyond shadows into a world that shimmered with promise. The laughter that danced between them was no longer menacing but resounded with the joy of rebirth. Each step echoed heartbeats of courage. Next chapters awaited, and they were ready to write them together. Now, if you loved this mind-blowing conclusion, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to help feed the algorithm, it really makes a difference. Flood the comments section with your reactions, questions, and theories about this ending. What are your thoughts? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Your support means the world, and only true fans understand its importance.